So today we're reviewing
Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw.
just Hobbs and Shaw, but basically this is a movie in the Fast and Furious series, which I have not seen basically any of them of them. But what were your initial thoughts of Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw?
I definitely had fun with this movie. There was definitely a lot of good things to see. I wasn't too incredibly excited to see this movie. There was some stuff in the trailers that I thought I really liked. Just the way they shot certain things and how these movies are made. And the action, seemed like there's a lot of action. I thought it delivered on the action. And it was definitely, I had fun with this movie. And that's what you look for when you go to try to see a movie in the theater. So I definitely enjoyed the movie for the most part.
Yeah, so my initial thoughts on this movie, like similar to him, I wasn't super excited to see this movie. I heard good things about it. I heard that you have to suspend your disbelief for a lot of it, but I definitely, walking out of this, I thought it was good. I definitely thought it was above average, right around average, I would say. There's definitely some memorable scenes. There's some things I really liked. There's some things that I have some problems, but for the most part, it's mostly positives, to be honest, in this movie. And yeah, I thought it was a good time. It didn't blow me away. It was definitely around average, but why don't we get to our positives?
I definitely liked, my top things I liked in this movie was the action, the characters, and that was really what I enjoyed most of this movie. I love The Rock and almost all the movies he's in. I love the villain character in the movie, Idris Elba's character. He really was a boss villain in this movie. Some awesome shots, some great lines, some really great action sequences with him, and that gets into the action, which I really liked. There's a few different set pieces, or scenes, there was the end fight scene, there's the motorcycle stuff that's kind of extended. They used that twice, actually, maybe more than twice. Yeah. And, yeah, I thought the action was really good, and definitely the last fight sequence is probably the best of them all, but there was some really cool moments, and like I said, I like the characters, I like The Rock, I like the villain, I like the girl character, and also, I don't know his name, but the other good guy, that guy working with The Rock, I liked him too. There's some really funny lines between those two. There was a really funny cameo in this movie. So yeah, there was a lot of good stuff in this movie, and I enjoyed a lot of it.
Yeah, there basically are all likable characters. There's really not one character that annoyed me other than, well, there was a few. There was really only one.
Only in Hawaii.
Yeah, no, there weren't many characters that annoyed me in this movie. Obviously, the banter between The Rock and Jason Statham is good, and for the most part, and the action was good. And I did feel that the action was just good until the very last fight that you mentioned that I thought was definitely ended on a really high note, and it was my favorite scene in the end that was really good. Can't really talk about what it is, but it's between the main characters, and it was definitely interesting how they shot it. It was different from a lot of other action scenes I had honestly seen. There was some slow-mo and
in the rain. Yeah,
in the rain. It was definitely a very cool scene for sure, and that's definitely what left us on a high note. There's some good characters, good action, and the last one was one of my favorites. But that was basically, for the most part, that's it. I thought the story was fine, but why don't we get into our negatives now?
I mean, I really don't have any major negatives for me. Like, one negative I have was a storyline element towards the end that I thought was kind of stupid and could have backfired in realistic situations where
they see it in the
basically, like, you see the end fight sequence with, they're with The Rock's family who are all Hawaiian on Hawaii, and they're using sticks and rods and stuff to to fight old school. But the reason they do this is because if you use a gun, then you're a coward type. That was their reasoning behind it. And but I guess it's not. I guess they're not a coward to plant bombs on the freaking ground to blow up on people. But then also, I think the fact that this is kind of spoiler. I'll talk about the spoiler. But something could have happened where. And I thought it was really funny when the villain says something before this fight starts, because they would have been done if they could have used guns in this fight, and I'll explain why in the spoilers really quick. So yeah, that storyline element was probably the one thing that kind of messed with me. And then there's a lot of humor in this movie, a lot of jokes, and not everything landed for me, but I mean there was nothing bad. I mean, it was to stick around if you want to watch the end credit scenes. There's 3 of them, and I don't know. I really don't have any negatives. It just wasn't that. I think the word is memorable. There wasn't too many really memorable scenes. A lot of the stuff in the trailers, if I saw that stuff and not in the trailers, it might have been better seeing it for the first time in the movie. Yeah. But I don't know. I thought the trailers kind of showed a lot of the good stuff, except for the end fight sequence for me.
Yeah, you know, thinking back to it, I do agree with there wasn't a bunch of memorable scenes. I'm thinking back, I can remember a lot of scenes, but not like amazing scenes like Mission Impossible. But I definitely think that the humor was good, but I do feel the banter between The Rock and Jason Statham did, in times, go a little too far. There was a little too much. It's like they're arguing, but then they keep going. It's, okay, that's enough. We don't need to. There was just a little too much banter, and it was a little too much arguing. It's like you gotta get along a little bit. And yeah, that was a little negative for me. And I guess one negative, I did really like the villain in this movie, but I did feel that he was a little too overpowered in certain scenes where it basically now I really have to go into spoilers to sum it all up. So really, I guess it's really not, that's not really a negative, but I just know for most of this movie, he is just invincible, and like no one can touch him. I know there's a reason, but I just felt there could have been a little more chance. They could have had a little more of a chance throughout the movie, but I don't want to spoil anything. So that was basically my only real negative. And yeah, the thing you said with the guns, where yeah, they say something about guns in this movie, but they acknowledge it though. They acknowledge what the flaw with it.
Not enough for me, because I didn't really.
Well, he never said we're effed, so.
There was a couple of funny moments there, but they still went along with it. They could have just been like, just sit down,
exactly.
you're not thinking straight right now. And then one other positive I forgot to say was, I really liked how in the beginning they shot a certain, like the beginning sequence with the two main characters. They're both in their respective, like, worlds before they meet together. I like that whole sequence. It's like, The Rock's in one area of the world. I think he was in, like, somewhere in California, I think, and one guy was in London, like, and they were both like they both had to get like a message, and they both like beat up a bunch of like people in a room, and like it was the same exact thing. I thought that was kind of funny and really cool. Like I've never seen that shot in a movie like that. Most part I had fun with this movie, and so we're getting our scores here. I think for me, the more I think about it, the fact that it just wasn't like it wasn't like Mission Impossible. I feel like if I give it a certain grade, it's just going to take away from the other ones I'm going to give it. So I'm going to actually give it a very, very solid 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, so I've been thinking long and hard about this. I was really debating on giving this an 8, but thinking more and more back to it and comparing, I know you shouldn't just compare a movie, but I'm comparing this action movie to another action movie that's very similar to this.
It had the same girl in it.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's even something, but that does nothing to do with it. But, I mean, she was a fighter in both of them.
She was good.
Like, just comparing those movies together, Mission Impossible is just the recent one that came out, is just comparing certain things shows how much better that movie and more memorable that movie was. So when comparing it, I think I will give it a 7.5 out of 10. It's definitely a solid movie. I had a lot of fun with it. I definitely had some negatives with it, but coming out of it, I was like, okay, that was good. But I wasn't blown away like it was for Mission Impossible Fallout, which is just amazing. So there's definitely fun to be had. And I don't know if I really recommend this movie. I think I definitely say if you need a movie to go to, I think you'd have fun with this movie. I mean, there's a good. I really was satisfied with it.
Definitely go see the action.
Yeah, there's some good action. There's definitely moments you have to suspend your disbelief for sure.
And it's The Rock.
But it's entertaining. Yeah.
The Rock's usually enough for the price of admission.
Yeah, the acting's good. The action's good. Yeah.
So that was our non-spoiler review of Hobbs and Shaw.
Fast
if you want to stick around for the spoilers section, it's gonna be really quick. Just want to talk about a couple things. So. If not, thanks for watching this review, and we'll see you guys in the next video or the spoiler section. Bye, guys. So for the spoilers, I'd say the biggest spoiler is probably we'll talk about the gun thing later. But for as far as like the biggest spoiler of the movie, the Idris Elba character, I guess he got shot in a previous movie that we didn't watch Fast and Furious, so we didn't really know much about their backstory. No. But he must have been shot in the head or something to where. Whoever saved him, like, there's, like, his spine is made of, like, half metal, and, like, there's, like, a system inside of him that makes him, like, perfect. That's why he knows how to avoid punches, and he's like, a beast the entire movie.
He's unstoppable.
And at the end, the only way that he was able to be defeated was because the two main characters, both Hobbs and Shaw, had to fight together, and, like, one would have to take a punch, and the other guy would, like, hit him or kick him. There was some really cool... images in this, like during like the rainstorm, some really strong like a forearm and a headshot, a punches and stuff like that, and they ended up beating him like that. The Rock like body slammed him, and then he realized he was actually, the villain Idris Elba's character was about to be terminated like from the program, so then he just fell back into the water, and obviously he's not dead because you didn't see his body, so he could come back. But that's basically how it ends. And also, another minor spoiler is The Rock, who is about to be killed by the girl character, ends up, I think, together at least. They allude to that. They didn't really show it at the end. He was with his daughter.
Well, I mean, yeah, I want to talk about that fight. Yeah, you can definitely feel the punches landing in that fight when they're really starting to take him down. The forearm shiver, yeah, with the rain and the slow motion was definitely really good. And definitely the actual really damaging Idris Elba's character at the end. I could really feel all that, and that's why I was saying that end fight was really good and really lifted the movie way up for me. The guns thing, I guess, is something we had to talk about. So basically, Idris Elba's character is lined up with all these guys with guns about to shoot
Looking at
down.
guys with sticks.
Yeah, guys with literally sticks, which, whether you like guns or not, it's obvious that people with guns would easily win.
Yeah.
And the fact that they
like
said to get rid of the guns because of something, but then they thought they could still fight them. They had no idea, though, in this movie that the one girl would disable all the guns. If they didn't disable all the guns, they're all done.
And you also said that they alluded to it when they said we're not using guns, and the Rock is like, or I guess it was Hobbs or whatever his name is. He's like, that's very honorable. We're effed. And then 10 minutes later we're effed because you had to bring you would get wiped out, and that's why when this fight starts, they all do this little tribal dance thing, and all of a sudden the Idris Elba's character is like, light him up. And then they would have all been killed, but then they disabled the guns. Some really cool scenes, explosions of a motorcycle and cars driving up on things. All the cars. Yeah, there's 15 cars attached to a helicopter.
Two wheels are on the edge of the cliff.
That's kind of ridiculous. The scene of the girl jumping from one car to another car, that's ridiculous. But I mean, I kind of like stuff like that. The Rock
sticks his arm out the window and grabs a guy and slams him against the wall. That is physically impossible.
So there's a lot of stuff like that, and then also just the Kevin Hart scene. I guess if that was a spoiler, it was just they're on a plane about to first the one guy he almost got him turned in on purpose, and he was able to avoid that somehow. And he walked onto the plane.
Yeah.
And then they're arguing about they're about to get into a fist fight again, and that's when Kevin Hart's character turns around. And they all talk, and just some funny things there. I think he's a really funny actor on almost everything he's in.
That's it.
That's basically the spoilers. So
Idris Elba's character dies, falls in the waterfall. We're going to talk about that.
And it just ends like that.
Well, the end credits sets up for a sequel.
It kind of ends kind of weird with Ryan Reynolds' character. He's in a bunch of dead bodies in a hallway, and he's talking about something. He's joking too much to where
he's not.
I thought he was bad for a second, but then you really can't tell because all three end credit scenes, especially the middle one, are just all jokes. The one with him in a hallway, I think the storyline there was something cool about that, but they never let you think anything because he was just joking the whole time. He's like, hey, I actually put a brick in a guy's chest, which I thought was funny, but
yeah, but I was
expecting a freaking thing to happen here.
Yeah, but they joke about how powerful Idris Elba's character is, and he was able to put a brick in someone's chest, so that makes you really think that he has the power, and then he's going to turn bad. That's the only explanation.
I thought he was Deadpool for a second there.
Because he said, how can you put a brick in someone's chest, and he actually does it, so obviously. But yeah, that's basically it.
So that's our spoilers discussion for Hobbs and Shaw. Thanks for watching, and we appreciate you guys sticking around this far to watch this. And so thanks for sticking around for this, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.